what the Chartered Director Programme offered was really, really valuable in terms of just so much better understanding what the difference was between being a manager or an executive and being a director, and what governance is all about.
I originally started the program because I believed, having come from another country, that I needed to do something that gave me a grounding and a base in the UK.
For me, it was always going to be a complete journey to try and attain the gold standard in company direction.
Relative to my business and for what I was doing, it was totally relevant. It was the most relevant thing I could find.
I've been on boards before as a non-exec director, and I just felt that this extra training would equip me better.
As a professional statistician, I'd got academic credibility to my role as a statistician, and I started looking at whether I had a professional credibility to be a director.
In my business, has helped me become more structured, more focused.
If you've got issues, the networking possibility to help you resolve some of those issues is great.
It's actually quite a rich resource. I can think of 2 or 3 examples from our meetings where individual people have given me advice about, for example, doing business in another country. So there's a lot of value from just being in that network.
It's benefited me, I think, particularly in terms of my own confidence and self-belief that actually I'm probably usually the only person around the boardroom table who's actually qualified.
It provided me with some required authenticity to be sitting around a board table when we had private equity investors in the business.
Going into the boardroom and saying, actually I'm qualified to do what I'm telling you to do. I'm qualified to be able to evaluate you. It's not only my experience, but it's actually I've got something a little bit more than that.
The future of the board is going to be totally different going forward. We're not going to be in a world that it used to be. There is a huge amount of diversity needed on the board, and I think one of the things, particularly for somebody who's in his 50s, has really got identified now, is that actually what the young people, the next generation, are expecting, wanting, demanding is going to be totally different.
I think there'll be an increase in the number of non-execs, not just in the big companies, but into SMEs, maybe divisions and subsidiaries.
I think the board dynamics are going to change hugely over the next decade. You are going to see a lot of people retiring from board positions that have been there for a long time. You've got the Generation Y coming up that are changing it from the other side.
Boards of directors were often the last refuge of scoundrels and amateurs. And one of the things that the Chartered Director Programme does is to start to blow that away. And it starts to make being a director a professional activity. And I think that's really important.
Fundamentally, I think the Chartered Director Programme is a lot more achievable than you think it is.
Do it. Absolutely do it.
Delve in a bit more into the areas that you think are interesting and really important.
The great attribute, I think, of the Chartered Director Programme is it's based on your experience, it's based on the skills you use every day, but they're putting it in a formal structure. And that is why I think it's the greatest thing that's ever happened.